What a great day for baseball. We've got this great new stadium that we've opened, and our Padres taught Atlanta what it means to be brave. What a great day this was. You know, I was thinking about what we were going to talk about tonight, and I thought, I don't want to talk about my work here at the University of San Diego, because that would take me 2 or 3 hours and you probably wouldn't appreciate that. But I want to talk about baseball. I love baseball. I've always loved baseball. And I thought, where can I start talking about baseball? And for some reason, what popped into my mind was one time when I was in the 8th grade, probably 12 years old, at Coles Junior High School in my little town of Ashland, Kentucky. One of my friends said, can you come over to my house Saturday afternoon? We haven't gotten together for a while, and I want 2 or 3 of us to get together and just have a little girls' chat. So I went over to her house, and the 4 of us were sitting on her bed, eating popcorn and drinking orange Kool-Aid. And we were talking about how we hated the math class because they started fractions, and we had absolutely no use for fractions. We knew how to add, multiply, subtract, and divide, and why in the world did we need fractions? So one of the girls suddenly said, let's change the subject to something that's more intelligent and something we have a lot more information about: boys. So we began to chat about boys, and she posed a question to us. She said, what if you could marry tomorrow anybody in the whole wide world you wanted to marry? Who would you marry? So one of my friends immediately said, Hopalong Cassidy, because I think he might let me ride his great white horse, Silver. And another one said, no, I want to marry Charlton Heston, because I just saw the movie, and I would love to ride around the arena in his chariot. And the other one said, the most handsome person in the whole wide world, I think I'm going to marry Clark Gable. Then they came to me, and I said, none of that works for me. Those people are too silly. They don't know who they are. They're always acting like somebody else. I want to marry somebody tomorrow who is a real man, who's really doing something great, who I admire what he's doing. I am going to marry Pete Rose. So, no, some of them didn't even know who Pete Rose was. But for me, every Sunday was devoted to standing at our little Magnavox radio, listening to the Cincinnati Reds, waiting for Pete Rose to get to the batter's box and hit one all the way out into the stands, and everybody scream and yell about his home run, and I got up and did the same thing. There was nobody like Pete Rose for me. Every day, I would scan the pages of the Ashland Daily Independent looking for pictures or stories about Pete Rose. And my dad would always complain about, why do I read the paper and there's always a hole in it? Because I had cut out all the articles about Pete Rose. And I stored them in my wonderful little yellow candy box. Remember the Whitman's yellow candy box? Well, that was my treasure chest for my articles about Pete Rose. And I collected the stories about Pete Rose and kept reading about him and admiring Pete Rose all the way through high school. And when I packed up to go to college, the first thing went in my luggage was my little Whitman's candy box with all the stories about Pete Rose. And when I got to college, I played softball there. You already heard the stories about playing softball in high school instead of home ec. But I took my little Pete Rose box with me. I continued to read the Toledo Blade and look for stories about Pete Rose. That was, to me, the idol of the whole world. and it was so great to see how he progressed in baseball. After I think I was in my junior year in college, I kind of had to put baseball aside because I was doing a lot of other things. So I finished college, I moved west, went to graduate school, finished that. I came to San Diego and I became very active. I got a job here. I became very active in the community, including here at USD. And eventually I received an appointment for the Council for Arts and Culture for the city of San Diego. And all this time, I still kept up all my studies about Pete Rose, admiring Pete Rose. He was my real idol. And one day I got a call as a commissioner for arts and culture from someone who said, my name is Gene Locklear. I'm just retiring from the San Diego Padres. In my next career, I want to be a professional artist. Someone gave me your name, and could I come and meet with you? And I thought, oh my gosh, you just retired from the Padres. I can get all the good dirt from the inside on what professional baseball is about. And I had several meetings with Gene, and one of them, he told me that he had once played with the Cincinnati Reds. Oh boy, was I glad to get that information, because I could start asking him all kinds of things about Pete Rose. And so we eventually agreed that I applied for an application for Gene to be artist in residence at the Viejas Indian Reservation, because he himself was a Lumbee Indian. So he called me about a month later, and he said, you know, I got a letter from the Arts Council, and they have approved my grant. I'm going to start next month, and I'd like to take you to the Town and Country for breakfast to celebrate. Can I pick you up Friday morning? And I said, sure, I'll be ready. So we were at the Town and Country. We were having breakfast, starting to have breakfast. And any place I went with Gene, somebody always came up and interfered because they recognized him as a baseball player, and they wanted to come and say hello to him. So it was natural when somebody came up. I was looking at the menu, somebody came up and talked to Gene, and Gene said, oh, I'd like you to meet my friend Reggie Smith. So I put the menu down, I looked up, the gentleman walked over, extended his hand. He said, hi Reggie, I'm really glad to meet you. I'm Pete Rose. I thought, oh my heavens. He slid in the booth next to me, that big strong arm, and it had so many home runs, hit my arm. I thought, what am I going to do? So I remember clearly what I was thinking. Dear God, look down on your simple child. Don't let me do something stupid like saying, when I was 12 years old, I wanted to marry Pete Rose. Please don't let me say that. But we had a great breakfast. He was a wonderful guy. It was a great experience. But I will tell you, when I walked away from the hotel, I felt like I had picked up my old Louisville Slugger, put it across my shoulder, and hit the hardest home run, the best home run I ever hit in my life. But you know, I realized that's really not what happened. I hit a good 3-bagger, and I didn't reach home plate until tonight. And I'm just, you know, to have the University of San Diego honor me after I have been so honored to work with the University of San Diego for so many years, it's almost overwhelming. So at this moment, I want to thank President Harris, the board of directors, and the director of athletics here at the university for leveling the field and making women's softball as important as every other sport on this campus. I'm so I'm so very proud of that. It's to see that happen. And I think it's even more about honoring me and honoring the softball team. It's about honoring women and what they have done, powerful women, what they have done here on the campus of the University of San Diego. And I will tell you, I'm thinking today, I was thinking about Mother Hill and the 7 Sacred Heart nuns that walked on this campus 75 years ago, and in their wildest dreams would never imagine what we're doing here tonight. And I think of my dear friend, my dear friend Mary Lyons, who is here tonight, what she did with this campus when she brought in the Peace Center and brought in women from all over the world whose lives were at risk because they were trying to help women. And what a brave thing to do. Mary Lyons made this campus global, not local anymore. We are now a great global campus, and I honor her for that. And you know, the other one is Sister Sally Fury, my dear friend. I don't know how many of you were ever able to meet Sister Fury, but she did so much to determine the direction and the future of this campus. I was so proud of her. She believed there was nothing that women can't do if they put their mind to it. And she would be watching down today at what we were doing and the fact that we're honoring our women softball players like that. And I can see the smile on her face. Any minute she's going to whisper in my ear, "About time, don't you think?" So she was such a great woman, such a great leader on this campus. And I'm so proud that our board, our president, have taken this kind of direction and honored our women by giving them this wonderful field to play on. And I would be amiss if I did not honor the donor who provided the money to build this magnificent building. That donor has reached the highest rung of philanthropy by giving a gift and never revealing who they are. I'm just so proud that there is someone who was willing to do that, who has the maturity, the self-confidence to put purpose before self. I hope someday the person will come up to me and say, "I funded that building and I was glad to put your name on it." I would love to say thank you to them personally. Fantastic thing to do. And to our women's softball team, what a great group of women to perform so well, to bring the attention of their work before the administration so they earned what they have today. I'm so proud of them, so proud of our women's softball team. And I will have to tell you at this moment, I want to thank those of you that came today to celebrate this great opening of our girls softball team. The donors, the friends of USD that are here, my family and my close friends. And I must tell you at this moment, I've never felt so humble, so thankful, so grateful, so proud to be alumni and a member of the Torero organization. Thank you so much.